What's up YouTube? Welcome back to the series. In this video we're going to continue our little journey on reversing applications. This one is considerably more difficult than the last, but not by too much. Just involves a little bit more poking and prodding and finding the vendor key. We're going to be using Diva, so if you have no idea what that is, hit the back button and check out the videos before this. Before we dive into this, please do me a favor, hit like and subscribe. I love y'all for it, and yeah, let's just dive into it. So, my phone's pulled up. Okay, so let's pull up the Diva app here. Okay, so this is hard coding issues part 2. And I guess I kind of jumped the gun because it's number 12, and that's 12 out of 13, so I don't know, maybe it means nothing. But anyway, find out what is hard-coded and where. Hint, developers sometimes will hard-code sensitive information for ease. So based on what we did last time in terms of looking at the Java file, decompiling it, my inclination is to at least start down that route. So let me, it's already open. Adam Diva no sandbox. I don't really know what that no sandbox thing is, but if you do, please let me know. Comment below. Let me know, because I'm very curious. And I'm just lazy, so I haven't looked it up yet. Alright, so hardcode activity 2. So here we see package imports, and we see this weird thing, DJNI. So it took me quite a little bit of Googling, but essentially DJNI in this case is a Diva JNI, and JNI stands for a Java native interface. So what is essentially happening here is it is using this DJNI text, and it is doing a check against an HC2 key within an R file, and that's what I'm gathering from here. And we want to go down this branch because this says if you get that, then access granted, see you on the other side. Otherwise you get that mean message, which we don't want. So looking at this doesn't really tell us much. I mean, it does give us a good starting point. So we want to look for whatever this Diva JNI is. And look, it's in the same folder here, Diva JNI. So it is saying private static final key, SO name. So SO is another way of saying shared object. So what a shared object is it's basically what it sounds like. It's basically a file that is shared and it has code in it that is referenced when a program needs it at runtime. So that kind of leads me to believe that there might be something sensitive in the shared object file. So let's try to hunt this down. So I'm looking for this Diva JNI shared object file. So a shared object file is going to be a .so, and actually a little bit of Googling brought me to the understanding that a shared object file can also be treated like a Linux binary in terms of trying to reverse it and whatnot. So we'll get into that in just a minute. So I do want to bring your attention to something here. So we don't see a shared object file here. So if we hop out What did I do? Okay. So I actually looked through and I couldn't find that shared object file anywhere in here. But what I did find is, and this is kind of, maybe I missed a step, but this is why it's so important to decompile files, APKs, in more than one way, because you're going to lose certain files. Like, I don't know if you recall in the last video, when we used APK tool, everything decompiled into this Diva beta folder without any errors. With Diva JetX, we hit a lot of warnings. So what that kind of leads me to believe is maybe some stuff did not get decompiled properly. So you always want to try to decompile using a few different methods. So let's hop into Diva beta. And here we see this lib file. So that should instantly bring up a red flag, light bulb, whatever, because it's right here, it's literally saying load library. So let's hop in there, and I'm just gonna pick this. I don't know if it's all the same or not. And look at that. We could have also grepped for it, but I like to do things the hard way. But anyway, so let's take a look at this .so file. So we can't just cat it, because as I said before, a shared object file needs to be treated like a ELF binary. So if you have any experience with trying to extract data from ELF binaries, you know that you can use a few different tools. Off the top of my head, I do believe you can use object dump, read ELF, and I really like strings because it's easy and it can give you some clues. So let's just run strings on it. So strings libdiva jni. Not a lot of stuff, but we see Java, So anything above this font, this over here, because this doesn't look like it's anything that's worth us looking into. So this kind of stuff is a little curious. This OLSD, and then this dot with a dot in front of it. So not sure what's going on there. The other way you can also RE ELFs is you can, which I like to use, is read ELF. And read ELF allows you to more surgically look into ELF binaries, and there are different flags that you can use. So I'm going to show you the flag that kind of worked in this case. So read ELF x ro data, and then just the file name. And what this is essentially doing is it is trying to read all of the RO data. And what RO data is, if you're not familiar, is read-only data. So if there's anything that's hard-coded, because this is a hard-coding issue, you can always look into the RO data for clues. So let's see if this pulls anything up. So it only pulls up this for the read-only data. So this, looking at this and looking at this, it kind of leads me to believe that that might be what we are looking for. So let's start off with this guy right here. So that is OL S D F G A D L H. I'm gonna be really mad if it's the other one. Access granted. See you on the other side. So it looks like we were able to read the read-only data, and we were able to kind of infer that this was the access key. We also found it just by using strings. There's also object dump, and let me just pull up my notes here. So yeah, so you can also use object dump if you can spell it right. And then again, you can use that RO data flag. And it gives you a little bit more information, but basically this is kind of what it is pointing at based on these three different tools. And if you weren't sure exactly how to decompile the .so, my advice, always just Google and try to figure out how people do look into shared object files. You also just run file on it and see what it comes up with. So it literally right here says ELF 64-bit shared object. So you know that that's how you want to kind of dig into this a little further. So that's all I had for this video. It was a little more challenging than the last, but not too bad. I hope you guys were all able to follow along. I hope you got something good out of it. Please don't be shy. Comment below if you have any recommendations or if you liked the video. Obviously, please hit like and subscribe. All right, guys, have a good night. See you at the next video.